Okay.
Fine. You know what?
No.
You know what?
Well, let's think it through. Let's think it through. Let's think it through. Because what I'm saying.
Why don't we just talk about your apartment? Let's start off there.
Okay, sure. Let's do that.
So, for the 30 people who watch us, why is the location seem different today?
You're talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. There's no one else.
Well, I suppose you posited it. Doesn't matter. Well, we're in a smaller apartment because this is my apartment where I live. And it is 176 square feet located on... I should not cut that information out. I don't want to give out my true address.
Why are you putting out your address?
I live in a very nice beach area on one of the main streets of said beach area. Or you could bleep it out. So it'll be like, I live on... And then do it that way. So I live in a very nice beach area. I am paying prime money for the real estate. Actually, it's not even prime money. It's pretty inexpensive. So, yeah, but we're in my small apartment.
Yeah, really small apartment.
Don't say it like that.
No, but I dig it.
Yeah.
It's been growing on me.
What do you mean it's been growing on you? It's already grown on you. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, somehow my place is like 3 times the size of this, and we don't have enough space for our stuff.
Yeah.
How much stuff did you have to like get rid of to move in here?
I got rid of a dining table. I got rid of...
Like clothes-wise?
None.
None?
I have all my clothes.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Oh, you don't have that many clothes then, huh?
Oh, wait. I might still have a bag in my car. But that's fine, because I'm going to give away clothes. I don't need that many clothes.
Okay. What would you say is the benefits for people who might be thinking of getting a tiny home? Tiny apartment?
A lot. There's a lot of benefits.
Uh-huh.
Easily. One of them being it forces you to be intentional. I'm not saying you have to live like a minimalist, like a monk, and believe me, I've gone through that phase where I had like a total of, I literally just had, I don't know if you know this, I had 4 gray shirts, I had 4 white shirts, I had 4 black shirts, and I had 2 black pants, 2 jeans, and like 2, I don't know, did you know that?
Yeah, when I saw your closet one time, it was just...
Not my current closet.
Yeah, but your closet before. It
Yeah.
was like so...
Yeah, and it was all by color.
There was like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was and all of it was from like Gap and Banana Republic and Old Navy. Yeah. Because they were just the most classic things. But okay, anyways, that's
How
the benefit.
Did you do laundry, or did you just swap out? Like this would get somewhat dirty, and then you switch to the next shirt and then you cycle through.
No, I mean, because this was in college, was my minimalism phase. So I did my laundry every week, but it was smaller loads because it was just like gray shirts and stuff. So, and I never had to think about what I needed to wear. And I just looked, and I looked fine, because it was all about fit. It's just as long as it fit well. I got all my clothes tailored, and I let my personality be what I wore.
Meaning simple?
No, I have a loud personality.
Yeah, but if you're wearing the same thing every day, doesn't that show that your personality is like?
No.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because I think most people would describe me as loud and boisterous, like especially in college, loud and boisterous. But
you said your personality is what you wore.
Yeah, I'm saying my personality, even though I wore normal clothes, my personality it's figure of speech. It's not. I didn't actually wear my personality. Of course I didn't.
Yeah, it's a figure of speech, but if what you're wearing is all minimal, and you're wearing
no. My personality is a metaphorical.
Oh, you're
clothing.
Wearing your personality.
Yes.
Your personality
yes.
is your clothes. I
yes.
see. I completely
yes.
misunderstood.
Yes.
That. Okay.
Therefore, I didn't
Makes
need
sense.
fancy clothes.
Makes sense now.
Which makes me think maybe I was right with that. You know what I mean? Because in order to be interesting, I had to be interesting. Otherwise, I would have just looked like an NPC.
Oh no, I agree with that 100%. I think people who try to dress too much, I wouldn't say is compensating, but it's more of. I think it's more impressive with less, like having to show less, like wear less,
and still stand out.
And still stand out is more impressive than having the stuff stand out for you.
Yeah, well, because if you walk into a room, right, you're not going to notice the NPC wearing like a black T-shirt and a black and the jeans.
Yeah, and I mean it's like the idea of presence, right? Like you walk in a room, like it. Do you think do you think clothes can give you presence on its own?
Of course they can.
Like true presence.
Oh, true presence.
Like
if
it could draw eyes. That's not the same as presence.
I think they can. Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, you know what?
Because someone wearing nice clothes who doesn't have actual presence, I think it can amplify presence. I think it can complement it. I don't think clothes.
Okay, well, what about this? What if you had 3 mannequins, right? One was wearing a suit, one was wearing a Hawaiian T-shirt and shorts. You're telling me you wouldn't think that mannequin with the suit on has less presence? I would. Looking at the 2 mannequins, I would be like, that mannequin means business, and it's a mannequin. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, to be honest.
Isn't that like projecting though? It's not that the mannequin has now gained presence. It's more that you can personify the mannequin more because it has more interesting clothing.
Yeah, but if the majority of society perceives that as power and whatnot, it might as well be the presence of the clothes, because it might as well just be the clothes.
That's true. Then how significant do you think clothes plays a part? Then
I think they're significant until you open your mouth or you do something, or you do something to like wear the clothes. Like, so for example, if let's say you replace the mannequin with 2 men, right, of equal stature, maybe one is kind of like a wimp, and one is like, I don't know, is actually like a very strong-willed guy. I think the key differences are the wimp is probably going to be slouched, which I slouched, but I don't know, not a wimp. But you get what I'm saying? Like, and I know you slouch, so I'm not trying to call you a wimp, but what I'm saying is I think by nature, even without saying a word, the clothes,
like body language.
Yeah, your body language will negate what the clothes are. Yeah. So if you look like a puss,
then,
yeah.
So then wouldn't
it goes in order, I would say.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like it's very hard to, what do you call it? To not notice body language immediately.
Yeah.
Or who's wearing the clothes.
Yeah.
So I would say clothes do have a presence on their own, but they're very quickly negated by who's wearing them.
Yeah, because it's that like saying where it's like the clothes wear you instead of you wearing the clothes.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because I know my girl says that, but what do you think creates that phenomenon? Is it just because with certain clothes we associate certain personalities and body types? Like there's a specific, not specific, but like kind of a kind of range of an idea of what we associate with certain like styles.
What?
Like, because certain clothes could amplify presence, but if, like you said, if you look like a wimp, if you look like a puss, if you look like, you don't fit the clothes, like there's a difference between like wearing a suit and you feeling like strong and have presence, like in a presentation sort of sense, or you look like you're wearing your grandpa's, hand-me-down sort of thing. Do you think the reason being is because there's a sort of disconnection between how people what people perceive about certain clothes and what sort of people should wear them with certain, styles and things like that? Or is it just completely just attitude? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'd probably say it's more along attitude, because I think a common trope is like you look best in the clothes that you feel good in, right? So like that bears no mind to like whether or not you're some kind of person, like a very shy person who feels like $1 million wearing something is gonna by nature like project more confidence.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah. So I think it's more about attitude and how you feel in the clothes, because, if you feel like shit in a suit, then you're gonna look like shit in a suit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at my wedding just a couple days ago, like when we were trying on clothes, fit really matters, just in the sense of where, the clothes are tight.
Yeah.
Where the clothes have tension and stuff like that. Like if you're not used to certain things, like for example, like if a typical guy wore a skirt, he would feel awkward.
Unless he was Irish.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
It's true. Because they wear kilts.
Yeah, no. I was just thinking it's stupid. Like I was thinking like, but when I meant a skirt, I meant more like a shorter skirt, and you feel like a draft. But wouldn't kilts be still like a little bit different because they're a little longer? And so they don't get the draft, but they don't feel that, tension in the pant, that sensation of the pants between your legs. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. No, I've never thought about kilts in the draft between my legs that much, but
yeah, but
sure.
Going back to the point, a typical dude wearing a skirt isn't used to that draft between their legs or the lack of sensation on their inner thighs. So it would probably even minuscule like make a difference in how they walk and how they typically interact when they were walking around.
Perhaps.
Yeah,
I could sure.
I mean, when I put on, like, for example, this sweater right now, like it's a little tight, like I don't know, like here underneath that. So I feel, but then there's like good range of arm. It's a little short here, and then like, so it feels like these feel tight, but this feels loose, sort of thing. So it gives this kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it all affects. It all affects.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So, I think the. At first, I was gonna say I was leaning more towards it's kind of flowing in line with what fits for you, like your style and things like that. But through this conversation, I think I'm leaning more towards the attitude does really make it.
Yeah.
Because if let's say you did wear the skirt, yet you walked in a way that it was natural to you, I don't think people would like think twice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think by nature of it just being a skirt and maybe because of social norms, like people would think twice. But I think when they notice the confidence of someone wearing it, then it would be like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So of course, societally, if it's like a standout, they will, look twice, so to speak. But then realize like, oh, like it's natural, or their natural like wear. So
yeah, they'll have the initial reaction that it's out of place or it's something odd.
Yeah.
But
if you look embarrassed, they'll be like, "That guy's." I don't know.
They'll think it's a joke, or
exactly.
they'll think it wasn't serious. But like,
right.
If you're walking around and it's like clear you're totally serious,
right?
Like this is just what I wore today. You get away with it, sort of thing. I forgot what I was thinking in the car. What should we talk about outside of that?
Well, it sounds like you're going towards identity.
Well, yes.
You didn't want to talk about true love today?
No, not really.
Really?
I mean,
not even about the shoebox and true love. I think that was a pretty interesting topic.
The shoebox.
Yeah, how this whole apartment, like, you didn't even want me to get because.
So
because
for context,
you thought it was dumb.
I told him.
And now look at it. Now it's beautiful.
Yes. Well, you did get so for context, I told him he shouldn't get the apartment because if a girl walks in, you don't want the first thing to think like, the first words out of her mouth is, "Wow, it's so small." You don't want that to be the first words, but for various reasons. But
I think it's pretty average sized.
Okay.
For comparing rooms. It's pretty average.
Yeah,
size,
rooms. We're
right.
talking about rooms here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got me on the part of I used to live in a smaller apartment, a one bedroom. It was still a one bedroom. I live in a one bedroom now with my wife, as of a week ago. But the apartment I had before when we started dating was, I would say, half the size.
Of this?
No, not
No.
of this, of my apartment now.
Oh.
So my old apartment was half the size of my apartment now, even though they were both one bedroom apartments. And because of some problems with the apartment, for example, I think there was like an anthill nearby because I would put out food for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'd already see a trail of ants.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty fast.
Pretty gross.
And especially, it's pretty gross, yeah. And then, I don't know what you call them. The things that seal, is that just sealant or like the door stopper things? Like in between the door?
In between the walls?
Like for example, underneath that door, there's a little rubber thing to prevent like.
Yeah, it's insulation.
Insulation. Okay, yeah. So to prevent any sort of gaps or anything in the house, to prevent like, to keep whatever temperature you're trying to keep in here. But like,
right.
There were so many gaps in the windows and underneath the door that you could literally hear the outside and hear the wind coming in. Yeah. And so there was just like a lot of problems. Yeah. And like, I had nowhere to put, back then I didn't have anywhere to put the litter box. So the litter box was in the kitchen. Anyways.
Yeah. Which, speaking of, this has it feels like pretty good sound insulation because I don't really hear the outside that often.
Oh no, yeah. It's like cozy.
Yeah.
Like I said, it definitely grew on me quite quickly.
Yeah.
If I wasn't a married man and I wasn't in a relationship, I would definitely live here. But I would still be down to date in a place like this. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, but not settle down, obviously.
Well, yeah, no, I would never settle down in an apartment like this.
Yeah. But where was I going with that?
Unless she was like 3 feet tall, I could. I'm just kidding.
I don't know how I was gonna react to that.
Below 3 feet.
I lost my train of thought. Why was I talking about the old apartment? You got me with the whole like. Kayla loved me,
even with that
apartment. Like terrible apartment. Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, I know even though we're in a much better place, a much nicer place, presentable place, like we have a place together, and even though it's nice, it's not the place that keeps her around, sort of thing. Versus like, if a girl comes to you and it's like, she's attached, she's used to the status and stuff, she might, be less loyal or less inclined to stay with you. Let's say you lose those amenities.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah. But, so I think a place like this is a good test of character.
Yeah.
For yourself as well as for your future prospects.
Well, there's even more reasons, what do you call it? Intentionality. Yeah. I mean, even this couch right here is really my bed. I have to extend it out.
Yeah.
And when people are over, I have to be intentional about the way the room flows.
Yeah.
What else?
Also, I think it's a great conversation starter. Is like, you could spend the whole first like hour, maybe even longer, just talking about the apartment, like how you went about like, like your intentionality behind where you put everything, like where you put bookshelves, like this gallery wall. Oh, you should probably talk about this gallery wall. What's your plans for this? That's true.
Yeah, could talk about that. The plans are, if you can't really see the top, but if you notice the no, I think it's okay. Why don't you take phone footage and then do that instead? Because that will be, you know what I mean. We could cut phone footage in, but you can't really see it. But towards the top, and then the bottom, so it's kind of at an angle, so it looks like it's climbing up the wall. Even though it's 176 square feet, the walls are 10 feet tall, and so I want the gallery wall to extend all the way up and kind of peak up to this area over here. And you can already see I started it right over there, just under that. But it's gonna look like a mountain. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want it to draw the eye upwards. I want it to be a huge conversation starter. I think I've been intentional with what I filled it about, and to the whole point about, I think, bringing a girl over.
Yeah.
I think, one, because it's such a natural conversation starter, I think it opens the door for great conversation about, about like, me and kind of like what I'm about.
Yeah.
Without me having to talk about myself,
Yeah.
all it takes is like,
It kind of does the
this
work
about?
for you, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think that's what's left. I would love to decorate this back wall here.
Yeah.
If you have ideas.
Oh, I just realized an issue that could arise.
What? With
So,
what?
if you had a lady over,
Yeah.
like this is kind of this is like a stranger, doesn't
Sure.
know you too well.
Sure.
Is the immediate format of conversation having to sit like this, or like sit side by side on the couch?
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
you don't. It doesn't
Right.
offer a like kind of like
well, let me
a 1-to-1.
Well, here's what I would say is, I think because of that awkwardness and because of that thought, I think it actually forces me to be more intentional about who I bring to the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not, and you're saying stranger, right? But I don't
Yeah.
think I would bring a stranger over for the first night to like.
Oh, so
to
you're saying
be
like it's kind of like a test
I
as
think-
well. Like
yeah.
before I even
before you even
bring
come
the
to the
girl.
apartment, we probably had like 4 or 5,
some sort
6
of level of comfort
dates.
before
Yeah.
you bring her. I see.
And so, and by that point, maybe we're already following each other on Instagram. She's maybe seen pictures. It shouldn't be a surprise. That's the whole thing. Like, I would never bring someone over here for like their first time unless it's just a friend, family, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that also makes this apartment even more special, is that the people that do come in are people that I know I am happy to bring in. I don't have to worry about that kind of conversation or impressions.
Yeah.
And same with, future wife or future girlfriend, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Whenever I bring that person in, I know that this won't be a problem. And if anything, it's going to be kind of like, oh, I finally get to see it.
Yeah. Like she's already excited
Yeah.
to go check out the apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah.
And have the tour.
Well, the tour is basically.
That's a really good bit, though.
Well,
It's
yeah,
just
the
like,
tour.
Here it is.
Well, a tour is you
Okay,
walk in
goodbye.
and you turn your head from left to right and that's it. Well, actually, you could technically tour the apartment from the window.
Yeah.
If you just
you're
open the window and you could just kind of rotate your head around. I mean, it's true. You could actually tour the entire
It's
apartment.
like those robbers who break into cars and they just peek in for a second
to see if it's worth.
to see if it's worth even breaking into. That's even this apartment, is they just peek in.
Well, they technically don't have to like look around. They just have to actually look in this direction. They
Yeah.
see the whole thing. So.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think, well, actually, now that I think about it, there's not that much like valuables in sight, like even if they were to peer in, the most they'd see.
Where would
is
you even
this.
hide valuables? Or maybe it's not.
I'm not going to share that in case you're a robber watching this. I don't
Mm.
know. But they're somewhere here. Actually, they're nowhere here.
Yeah.
I don't carry valuables because I'm a minimalist. Everything's in my bank account.
Nice. But nothing like of value that you would stash.
Okay, even then, actually, you know what? I will say this. Even if you were to ask me if there was stuff of value to stash, I think the most expensive item, and I'm happy to share this actually, the most expensive item in this room, aside from my computer, is literally this projector, which I actually dropped the other day.
Did you get that one from me?
No, this was
The idea?
No, I gave
you did give me
the
that
idea for the
Okay,
projector.
Yeah. But did you have that?
Now
prior?
you're gaslighting me. No, I'm just kidding.
Did you have that? Did you own that prior, or did you? Oh wait, so you?
No, my friend owned it
Yeah.
before me and you, and then I said, "Hey, you should get a projector."
And then I got it first.
and not even that.
But it was
I
your
had a
idea
projector at my old apartment. Even
All right,
before
all right.
it was 100 inches, and now I had to downsize. Now it's 84 inches.
The projector thing is a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Really saves up space.
yeah. Oh, do you know I was also
We won't
thinking
do
of
that with
having
bedroom.
tiny concerts in here,
Mm-hmm.
like 4 to 5 to 6 people. I think like 3 people could be on here.
Yeah.
Move this there, and then you could have an extra row here.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to have a tiny concert in here.
Yeah.
But you would perform up there, basically.
Up here,
Yeah.
like in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
In the kitchen.
You
There's
don't
just
see it on screen, but the kitchen's right there.
There's no kitchen.
That's both seating area and bedroom.
Well, technically, this whole thing is also the kitchen, and this is also the living room, and this is also the bedroom.
It just shifts based on what you're using it for.
Yeah. Well, this is really just the room.
Yeah.
The main room, I should say.
I think it would be funny if you had like a live concert in here and people just took turns outside just peering in to listen.
You could. I mean,
like it's like one of those like
well, this would be the
boxes.
prime seating. This would be prime seating, and then if you want to pay for the window seat, that's
so this is a paid tiny concert.
Well, of course it's gonna be paid.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna have people in my apartment for free.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's gonna be paid, and I think it could be a premium.
Yeah.
Extend your feet. Cross my legs out.
Yeah, you kept playing footsies with me earlier.
I didn't feel you.
I was gonna say I felt you.
Oh, really? That wasn't me. There are spiders in here, so it might have been a big one. No, I'm just kidding.
That was definitely you. There's something under this table, and you can see underneath it. Well, it's because I. Hey, those are house slippers. I was gonna say you said no shoes.
Yeah, I have more house slippers over there. You didn't get any.
You really need
House slippers for this? Yeah.
No, you really need like floor pillows.
Yeah. Or you want to switch seats because then you can lean against this sofa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's switch. Complete pivot.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think dating is doomed?
I think dating is doomed.
Yeah, in this generation, yeah. Because I think so. Just heads up.
I think it's doomed.
Like when all my friends came to my wedding.
Yeah.
Like all of them said it seemed like it was pretty rough out there to find like a good girl. You know, who's not like
Sure.
All those things we've discussed in prior talks. But yeah, I couldn't imagine like dating today and finding someone like.
I don't think it's doomed.
Why?
Oh, I guess if you're speaking of the broader spectrum, like majority.
Like I have no doubt you'd agree. Find someone, but I'd say for like the average person, I think what you're looking for might as well be non-existent.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's such a disconnect with what people expect or want in a relationship today. For example, I feel like, because I'm a millennial. You're technically Gen Z. I remember when I was growing up, when everybody was like dating, it seemed pretty like I'd say that, like low expectation, like people dated because they just liked somebody, they thought they were hot, they thought they were attractive, and they just had a good time. Mm-hmm. And then eventually like they started like settling down, like as they got older. Right?
Sure.
But I feel like now, like I heard like some Gen Zs like I work with, it was odd to me because all the girls said they wanted to get prenups. The girls, and not the boys. I mean, the boys themselves also said they wanted prenups, but the girls as well said they wanted prenups.
Okay. But
they're like, their ages range from like 16 to 20. I never even thought of like stuff like that back then.
Right.
I was just, dating, just like as you should.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're already thinking way too many details before they've even got the thing. And I think that's very unhealthy for a relationship, because
I think. Well, but do you think they actually mean it? Because
yes.
Here's what I think.
They're dead serious.
Because I think a lot of people seem and say that they're like, oh, I want a prenup, or I want this, or I want that.
Yeah.
But then you meet the right person, and I think it goes away. Like I think.
No.
Yeah.
I think they're dead serious because.
I think they think they're dead serious in the moment, and sure they can believe they're dead serious, because and I know from experience, because I thought I wanted a prenup, but as I've gotten to know and like evolved in my definition of love and things like that, it's gone away. But the whole thing is like, sure, right now they might think they believe it, and it might as well be their belief, but and I'm sure you had beliefs about dating and stuff before you met Kayla that have been washed away. But the whole point is like, or beliefs about who you would be with someone, and now they're kind of washed away. And I changed the language for a reason because I know you would reject.
So what did you say? Now that you changed your words, what did you say?
Okay, so before the language,
who I would be?
No. So my prior language was I said, if you meet the right person, your beliefs around relationships might change.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's so much the case with you. I think you're pretty strong in terms of what you believe a relationship should be, what it should look like. What I don't think you probably expected was the kind of person you would be in a relationship and those expectations. So, for example, I think you believed that you could have gotten away with keeping your walls up in a relationship with someone, but not with my sister. And in the same way, I think people believe that they can do the whole prenup thing because they're so independent. But when you meet the right person, you have to be dependent. You have to be like in coexistence with that person. So sure, you get what I'm saying. Like sure, you could believe, it's my belief that you need a prenup. But I think that belief is more central to like the idea that they think, I'm independent. I need to reserve my kind of side. I think that's bullshit. Realistically, I think realistically, when you meet the right person and you meet someone that like tears the walls down, the prenup I don't think is even a factor anymore. It's like, you get what I'm saying.
So two things. To the whole. I didn't expect who I would be. Like dropping the walls down and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of, for me, that was always kind of the litmus test. Is if this kind of sounds messed up, but if I felt like I could be with a girl and get away with acting the entire time, then I already knew like it wasn't gonna last.
Mm.
Like if we were together for like a year, and I know like I wasn't ever vulnerable and I could get away with it.
Right.
Yet, like, again, it sounds messed up, but it's almost like, wow, how have you not caught on yet? Kind of thing, in my head. Like, I have.
Well, that's
like, if I'm have my walls up and you're still like falling for me, if you're still like having the time of your life and feel like you love me, even though I feel like you don't know me, then there was no way it could even got to that point. The only reason why I married, like context, your sister, but is because it was easy to let those walls down, and like it was like, even to this day, like if she catches me, like dissociating or like acting around her or things like that, I could see it in her eyes, and she even calls it out sometimes. Where she knows, you're not being like yourself. I could see that you're like have your walls up and things like that. Like no one ever really like pointed that out. They either chalked it up to like, oh, he's just private, or like, oh, he just doesn't want to open up, but doesn't really see it as like it's a wall sort of thing. So that's to the first point. What was the second one? To if you meet the right person, that the whole prenup thing would just go away. I think. Sure, maybe back in the day, like, and that sounds such like an old thing to say, but I think nowadays, the general rule of thumb, like to be smart or wise, is yes. If speaking as men, if your girl is caught up in the culture of like today, then I think it's just smarter to have a prenup, like something, like I remember asking. My wife, like, would you get a prenup? Like, she obviously seemed like a little hurt by that. But then, like, she said, if you asked me to, I would. I would just feel like you didn't trust me or something like that. But if you asked me to, I would. Mm-hmm. And I said, like, no, you don't got to worry about that. I'm, like, completely sure about us. But the thing is, I could genuinely say that with her. Because even though, like, she does TikTok and things like that, she's not the kind of, like... How do I say this? Like, she's not truly like a Gen Z. She's not truly like swept up with the culture. like how a lot of people think it's acceptable to always go out to clubs and things like that is just having fun. Like how a lot of people like are starting to think that it's okay to like have friends of the opposite sex sort of thing. Like how I just opened up a new thing. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I suppose.
You think it's okay to have friends of the opposite sex?
Do you?
No. Like true friend. Okay, so so to clarify, I don't think it's okay to have real friends of the opposite sex. And when I say real friends, I mean someone you confide in, someone you know like spend like true quality time with. For example, like I have a lot of friends, like, but they're like a coworker, or there may be somebody I'll see with my now wife, or maybe like to come visit and see what's up. But like for example, we have really two close friends, Karan and Alyssa. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna catch me hanging out with Alyssa alone.
Yeah,
you know, like we could be friends. Like at the wedding, she's like, "I love you guys. I love you, John." Blah blah. I'm like, "Love you too." Great. Like I do have love for them. Like I do have like a lot of care for both of them. Obviously more so Karan because he's a dude. But with Alyssa, I'm not gonna be hanging out. Like what business do I have to hang out with Alyssa like alone, or to hear like her problems? Like she has her boyfriend for that.
Okay, Liz is different though because she's just kind of like a mutual friend that happens to be like Kayla's friend and your friend. Like I'm talking like okay, let's say you had a really good friend from like college, right? And you just want to catch up. Like, what's wrong with catching up?
Nothing's wrong with catching up. But when I said there's a reason why I use the term true friend is because if you're hanging out, like for example, me and you are friends. Like even though we're brothers now, like but we're friends. But like I hit you up to talk to you about stuff. I hit you up to come hang out. Like I think a true sign. Like I remember this one friendship I had where you could clearly show like a distinct change when I was in a relationship or I should say it the other way. Prior to when I was in a relationship versus when I was in a relationship. Prior to the relationship, it was very appropriate for this friend to hit me up and be like, "What are you doing tonight? What are you doing right now?" And then come over. Like I'm a very open person. I'm a very like everybody come over. Everybody like oh, crash at my place or whatever. And then like this friend, you know, like was a girl, and then when I got in a relationship, that immediately became now inappropriate because while we're friends, the dynamic needs to change because now I'm in a relationship. I can catch up with you, but you can't be hitting me up in the middle of the night. You can't be like just coming over. Well, like it's just you get what I'm saying by a true friend, like a true friend, like in true just friendship, there shouldn't be like those boundaries outside of like sex and intimacy. Like you get what I'm saying? Like true, you get what I'm saying? Like if it's just true friendship.
Yes, but
if it truly is just friendship, then like outside of like intimacy and sexual acts and things like that, physical connection, like there is no boundaries. You know, you like love your friends, like you have like like a deep relationship, like you confide, you told them, but that's a true friend. But when you get into a relationship, so many of those things now become inappropriate because now they're only appropriate with your partner.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, I do.
Yes,
but let me
say yours. Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Let me ask you this. Okay. Yeah. So I think maybe there's this. I think when you say true friendship, when I think of true friendship, I think of someone who's able to be by your side. That's not contingent on anything. It's not contingent on the time you spend with them. It's not contingent on them being able to come over to your house whenever. It's not contingent on anything. It does. Realistically, a true friend you couldn't see for 50 years, right? And they're truly your friend. Yeah. You don't even have to talk to them for 50 years. Yeah. So what I don't understand then is because you bring up the examples of like coming over. They shouldn't be coming over and whatnot. Yeah. Well, a true friend would recognize like they don't need to come over at midnight when you have a wife. Yeah. So that proves my point. Have a true friend?
Does that not prove my point? I mean, you could. Oh, okay. So maybe. No. Okay. So I think where the confusion is where I said you can't have true friends. So that's true. You can, because the true friend would respect those new boundaries that need to go up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in agreement.
Well, but you okay? Well, one more thing. One more thing. Because you were saying like, oh, she shouldn't be coming over at midnight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't know. I think you just listed everything that most girls would be uncomfortable with and then basically said like, can't have true friends. Like, so I guess my point is that like, I think you named all of the most common boundaries that I think most women would set and most men would set. And said, oh, you can't have true friends. I think that was more clickbaity than anything. I actually think you can 100% have true friends. And the reality is most people don't have true friends. Mm-hmm. So I think, yes, 100% you can have a true friend because I know for a fact, that any person, like, I know, like, when I was in relationships, like, both me and my exes would be uncomfortable if we were to, like, one of us were to say, like, oh, I want to go hang out with this other person at midnight and smoke. Like, I think like, and I don't even think that's just like insecurity. I think that's just like, I think anybody in a relationship would feel a little like, even if you don't believe that or you feel like, oh, we should be able to trust each other. I don't think you can stop yourself from feeling a little bit of like anxiety or like something's off with like the idea that like your partner, the one who confides in you most, that you confide in most, is consistently hanging out with someone at midnight, smoking like or drinking or whatever without
even not consistent, just like feels comfortable doing that.
Sure, yeah. But like that's the whole point is like I think you 100% can have true friends when you're in
yeah. Easy. So yes, we're in agreement. I guess what I meant more of was like, because you're talking from the and which is something we already agree on. Like you're talking from the perspective of how the friend how the friend perceives your new relationship. Because a fake friend would see you now in this new relationship and see that, oh, like they don't see me anymore, they don't talk to me anymore, they don't hit me up anymore all the time, and then it's selfish. Is you don't, a true friend would only care for their friend's happiness,
right?
Regardless of them, because you're not like, yes, you're in a relationship, but you're not in that kind of, intimate relationship. That's their new life now. That's their partner. So a true friend would just be happy for what their friend is doing.
Yeah.
If they feel like, oh, oh, you changed. Of course they changed because, now they're happy. And if they don't want that change of happiness for your friend, then that's not a true friend. It's selfish, and they want you in their life for personal reasons. I didn't mean to be clickbaity. But
come on.
No, seriously. I was like, I genuinely didn't. So when you said that, I was like, I think that's too much. Okay. But what I meant is like, because the way you're talking, it seems like you seem to have a lot more reasonable friends than the experience I've had in seeing like people's conversations. Because the experience I have is I see so many people and a lot of friends of mine who thinks, like, what's the word? Like, it's actually the opposite, where it's like, if that was your relationship before, they see the new partner coming in as like an invader. Sees the new partner coming in as someone who doesn't respect your friend's boundaries.
Oh yeah.
When the hierarchy's flipped.
When the partner should take precedence.
When the partner should take precedence.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I see. And that's what I'm talking to is, yes, if it's a true friend, they should understand the new hierarchy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how long you've been there, because even though like you guys have been friends for a long time, this is the person they're going to make a family with. This is the person they're going to make plans with.
Let me ask you something though.
Okay.
Because you've told me regularly that it is your job to call out if somebody doesn't seem right, or if like something's off, right? Mm-hmm. So my question would be, so like, I think I can already imagine like what the answer would be, but point is like, if let's say there's this hierarchy, right, and like, okay, well, what if I'm very happy, right, and you're calling stuff out? How does one differentiate now between whose advice to take precedence over? Because if one person is fundamentally happy, feels they can be their true self with their partner, but their friend, who is a true friend, who does believe that they're looking out for their other friend, is it not their obligation to say it, even if they might be wrong? Is it not their obligation to call it out, to maybe even try and like pull you away from your partner
Yeah.
if they believe it to not be, to be something that's not good for you.
Yeah. Wait, so rephrase the question.
So my question would be like,
How would you distinct?
well, how would you distinct, and how do you then play around that hierarchy? Because
who
I
to
think-
listen to?
because I think it is important that you have true friends in your corner, but it is also important that like, well, let's say you do fundamentally feel like with this partner, you can be yourself, your true self, whatever. You're feeling all these things, and it seems like things are going in the right direction, but maybe your friend doesn't agree. And like, we can also acknowledge that your friend could be wrong, and have your best intention, your best intentions in mind. So at that point, what happens?
That's a good question. Because I think, because I'm not a fan of the like. So why I struggle with this question is because I'm not typically the fan of like, just familial loyalty. Oh, that's just my family or whatever. Because like, we all have family members who are like delusional. We all have family members who are like, we think, don't understand reality or understand us. Yet they're still family, and yet we say our loyalty is to our family. But like, but I think that hierarchy of loyalty only really comes into play with, for example, with like important things. And when I say important things, I think it's like whether it be big moments where you have to show up and that takes precedence, whether it be like anything like family matters, like that has to take precedence over whatever's going on. And true friends would recognize that. However, in this situation of like, I guess it's a situation more about communication, is where your friend sees something that's perhaps a red flag in your relationship. And while you should be loyal to your partner, because I'd imagine that's a pretty common thing, is who do you listen to? Do I listen to my partner or do I listen to my friend? Well, I'm trying to think like in my own relationship, because I think
I know the answer, but that's your chance.
Well, I don't really usually I have like a just straight answer, but I guess I'll just use an example. Is a couple of years back there was situations like that where there was what friends were saying and then what she was saying. And recently there was I had just reconnected with a friend, and we talked about a certain situation that kind of put tension in our friendship. And then I relayed that situation back to my other half, and I told her my friend's explanation for why the situation happened, even though how she viewed the situation was different.
Right.
And my mindset, honestly, was, I'm close to this friend, and the drama or the things going on has nothing to do with us, our friendships, and it has more to do with like other external issues that's causing drama.
Yeah.
And then she kind of looked like, do you believe him, kind of thing. And you could say that, in that situation I should just believe her. But I think that's where communication comes into play, where you're allowed to disagree with your partner, because then that would just be like you're a yes man. That would just be like you're just you're a simp. You just say yes. Right. Like she wouldn't like. I think you guys wouldn't respect each other if you weren't able to disagree. So I think when it comes to communication and understanding, I think it becomes less of a hierarchy and more of a conversation, is where my friend said this and you say differently, but here's what I'm thinking. And to be honest, my friend sounds more correct. So what do you have to say to that? And I could talk to my girl like that. There's no problem talking like that. Because I even argued for my friend. I even said no, I know my friend well, and that makes more sense. And I see where you're coming from. I see that you think, this whole situation was a little weird, or maybe they're lying or things. But what reason would he have to lie? Blah 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 blah. And she's like, yeah, okay. But if she can't give me new evidence, she had to take that.
Right.
You know, like, and it's not necessarily about like who I'm choosing loyalty. It's just if she's if you choose a partner who's rational and who's somebody, if you have good communication, then I think it's the manipulative person that makes situations like that a controlling situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like where they, if they make, or if they turn situations that are a situation that's supposed to be about communication into a situation of loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
If they're trying to, you know, switch those things up, then they're a manipulative person.
Right.
Is what should just be, you know, I'm a normal human being. I'm gaining this information from, you know, all credit to you. You're my wife, or you're my partner. You're my girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. But these are also my friends, and I trust them to this capacity, whatever. And I'm just trying to understand the situation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to just listen to you blindly just because of that. But like, you have to also recognize that they're making good points, and you don't have a response to that. Mm-hmm. If they're immediately like, but I'm your girlfriend.
Right.
Then one, that's not you have to think about your future. Is that somebody you want to, you know, argue with?
Yeah.
Because then if they're constantly making those situations about loyalty, you know, they're almost trying to drive a wedge between you and your friends.
Right.
You know, but like, what I appreciate about her in that situation is she was able to understand even how I perceived the situation. She could still hold her opinion, but like, she also understood that, like, you know, like my husband or my boyfriend at the time, my boyfriend has a point.
Yeah.
And, you know, even though I think this way, I don't know everything either. And, you know, it's something we just move on from. That sort of thing.
Nice.
I didn't have like a clean answer, but I think that made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Is if somebody is turning communication situations into loyalty tests, then that's a manipulative person, or you're with a manipulative person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then they're taking away taking communication off the table and making it just, you should just listen to me because I'm your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you know, people can have credit to, like, oh, like, they just stopped being my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like, Kayla may not like maybe some of my friends, you know, but I like them, so she has to like see from my perspective.
Right.
But I'll obviously take her what's the word? Her opinions seriously, and like what she you know, have like a hint of caution.
I think here's another thing that's interesting too, is like with the whole idea of like, your partner doesn't have to like your friends, and your friends don't have to necessarily like your partner either. Yeah. But I think it's kind of like the idea of like parents in a divorce. Like you put up because you love, you know, you love, like on the friend side, it's they are willing to, you know, be courteous, be whatever, and also in many ways I think actually support you and your girlfriend. They don't have to like you and your wife or your girlfriend, whatever it is. They don't have to like it, but I know, like, when it comes down to it, they would support it, like knowing that you are happy. They don't have to like, you know, the person you're with, for them to be able to support you being happy, and vice versa. Like, you know, if your partner knows that your friends make you happy, they're not, you know, they're really not driving like any kind of wedge. It's just that you just don't like each other, and you don't have to like everybody. I think that's fine, and it's healthy, because at the end of the day, I think that's that trifecta of communication. Like, true friends, you're able to bring those things up, have those conversations, and vice versa. Your partner can talk to you about your friends can talk to you about your partner, you know, whatever. I guess where all of this like kind of comes to, I think, is like, I guess what we started with is like, can you have, you know, like, because what it originally sounded like you were saying, didn't mean to call you clickbaity, but what originally sounded like what you're saying was like, you just can't have friends that are of the opposite sex, full stop, on your relationship, right? Like, obviously that's a very like far end of the spectrum. Yeah. What I would say is this is like, and maybe it has just been a difference of like experiences, but I don't think that I've really had, I honestly don't know that I've had any friend call me out for spending too much time with like my girlfriend, or like feel like I'm leaving
those are
them,
good friends.
you know, like, I think I've been fortunate in that sense, where like, it's like when I see you, and I'm happy to see you. and vice versa. You know, like, and I've caught myself sometimes too when I've noticed friends. Yeah. That was a good string. That was a good string. Now, what I am curious to get into though is like, I think this is our last leg now because it's the third stop. What I'm curious to get into is because it's on the floor, bro.
3, 2, 1.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, we don't have Ronald today, so
I forgot what I was talking about. But it doesn't matter because we were talking.
You're going
off,
to a good place,
we were
but
talking off camera. Oh, I was talking about how we're coming like full circle to like what this really means. And like how. I think at the end of the day, like, you know, you 100% can have friends with the opposite sex and be in a relationship. I think there's no question about it. I think what's important to distinguish is like, you know, whether or not these are like true friends, and in the sense that you were saying, like, a true friend is not one that drives a wedge with you and your partner. A true friend is one that supports the relationship, even if they don't like the partner. And a true friend, I think, is also someone that, you know, your friendship with them is not contingent on the time you spend with them. It's not contingent on anything other than the fact that like they know you and they're happy to know you and they're happy to be your friend. And furthermore, I think something that we were talking about off camera was the idea of like something you mentioned was like, oh, like why confide in someone else that's not my partner of like the opposite sex, right? And I think, but I do think that is possible, and it should be possible for the reason of like, I think if you were to believe that like your partner has, you and your partner alone have the best possible insight into certain paths you should take in life, I think is far from the truth. I think obviously your partner has the most weight, but I don't see why you can't confide in people in certain things. And the reason I say that is because obviously I think there's boundaries in what you confide in with your partner. And that's why there's definitions like emotional cheating, where it's like, at some point you go too far when you confide with someone else that's not your partner. For example, if my partner was like, I think there's a couple quote unquote unspoken rules, and I'm curious if you agree. I think your partner should be the first to know everything. Only scenarios I can see where that's not the case is like, let's say it's at work and like you're confiding in something where it's like a work related thing, and like, you know, you're going to tell your partner, but they're just at home and you're going to see them later. Like literally the only person you can talk, like here's what I mean. Let's say I get fired, right? I'm going to fire off a text to my partner, or like maybe something crazy happens at work and I can't really be on my phone. The person next to me is a friend, is a coworker, is a friend. Like, obviously if I have opinions or things that I want to say to, like, I don't see anything wrong with like, just because, you know, we're at work. But the intention behind that is like, you're not telling them because they're the only person that's going to know what you're about to say. You're telling them because you know there are a few people that you're going to tell this to, and it's guaranteed that your partner is going to hear about it. It's just that timing is not in that space. I think if you had the intention of telling someone something and not wanting to tell your partner, or not having an intention to tell your partner, that's where the issue comes into play. Because at the end of the day, like, it's the whole room scenario. It's whatever you say to someone else should be able to be heard by your partner. And I honestly don't think my future partner would be upset if just by like she would know that she would always learn everything. She would know. So I think that's a rare scenario, right? It's very conditional in the sense of like, maybe it's work, your partner is not there, you can't get to whatever. It might as well be almost impossible, because if something was big enough, I would text my partner first. Right. So I think the first rule is that whatever you share should be able to be shared with your partner, with someone else. Whatever you share by default will always get shared with your partner. There's nothing that's kind of hidden, quote unquote, that you're confiding in to someone else, opposite sex or not, that's like not, you know, that your partner won't see. So I think that's one of the first unspoken rules, is everything flows through your partner, without fail, full transparency. The second thing, I think there's grades of like things you can confide in. Like, I think I would not confide in like with a person, like a friend of the opposite sex, of like my sex life with my partner and how that's going. Like, I think that's easily you could say that's like, you know, that's like a trespass. But I think there's, you know, maybe it's like, and again, still following rule number 1, my partner hears about this first. Like, maybe it's a big life decision of like, should I don't know, should I take this job or this job? My partner's hearing about it first. I would love to hear her opinion, but I would also, if I have true friends that are in my corner, I would also love to hear their opinion because maybe they have a different walk of life that's relevant to the situation that my partner just doesn't have.
Yeah.
So I think you 100% can confide in people of the opposite sex, in friends, in a relationship, but you just have to be cognizant of I think that's really the golden rule is like the partner knows first and the partner doesn't have anything that they can't see or can't hear. It's all contingent on the idea that like I'm never confiding in someone with the intention that my partner will not hear what I've confided in with this person. Yeah. And I think as long as you respect that, and as long as you have true friends, I think it's easy to have a relationship and have true friendship with other people because they're going to be mindful of you in your relationship and you're also being mindful of you in your relationship. Yeah. A friend shouldn't make it difficult to be, to have that friendship in a relationship. I think that's a good litmus test is like if you find it difficult to be friends with this person, either because they're putting you in situations regularly where, you like things are causing friction in your relationship, it's probably not a good friend or probably not a true friendship. Yeah. Because I would not have a friend that tries to put me in a position where they're like, hey, let's hang out at midnight and let's like smoke. Yeah. I would just immediately be like, I know my girlfriend wouldn't like that. I know my wife wouldn't like that, whatever. Yeah. And in the same way, my wife would also, I think my future wife, future girlfriend, whatever, I think would also recognize like if there was ever an event where Matt tells somebody or confides in something with somebody, I know I'm going to hear about it. I may not hear about it, like immediately when it happens because I'm not there or I'm not on my phone, but I know without a doubt, he's going to tell me and I'm going to hear about it. And my opinion is going to hold more weight over whoever he told. Yeah. Oh, I think that's another rule that I forgot to add is the weight of opinions, I think, or like who you hold most closely or like whose opinion is the most important, I think should fall on the partner. Yeah. Granted, I mean, I guess where that only thing I could maybe think of that would be like, let's say it's like a business deal and my partner has no idea about business.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I think your rule of the partner should hear first is good. Yeah. I thought I would disagree on something, but then you fixed it up by saying it's a rare situation where your partner wouldn't hear first. Yeah. Also, something before I move on from there, like something I was gonna say is also it says a little bit about your partner if something does serious happen and they're not available to hear it, at least within like let's say an hour time frame, because for example, I remember like Caleb works from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. right? Yeah. And then I got pooped on. So the real situation was I got pooped on by a bird. Like I was like walking up steps and like I just wanted to get some like little workout in, just walk up some steps, and then never happened to me in my life, and I got pooped on by a bird. Yeah. And I just texted her, and I was just with like all caps, just like you never guess what happened or something like that. I don't remember. But then like she immediately calls me like in the middle of work, and like she's like sounds so concerned and stuff. I was like, oh, I got pooped on by a bird. And she's like, I thought you died or something, or you got hit, or something like really bad happened, or like with your job or something like that. But like she was able to stop everything. So that's why I agree. I think it's good you fix that, because I was gonna say, because I agree entirely. I think it's a very rare situation where your partner, if something really serious happened, couldn't drop everything to listen if it was important. But I would also add, I do think there's a value and opportunity in saving it for your partner. Is because if you vent, let's say you did lose your job or something like that.
Well, that's big.
That's big, yeah. And like, yes, you're having those emotions now, but if you you're gonna want to release it all out, to the first person who's willing to hear it, that you trust to hear it. And if you give that to your friend, your partner is gonna hear that as a matter of fact, as information after that moment where you could have had, like a close moment with your partner, a vulnerable moment with your partner, kind of tells them like who you decide to go to first. So I'm not gonna say because like because depending on how emotional you are, you might need to get that out, but then your partner would understand that. But I'd say if you're able to save it, it's ideal. It's ideal, yeah. I'd say it's more. That's why I said it's a good opportunity. You're missing out on an opportunity to share that with your partner. Yeah. And like depending on the relationship, the partner could depending on their understanding of you, could see that as like they took precedence. But if your partner,
I don't think they would. Like,
I know.
yeah.
That's like if they understand you.
Yeah.
Like if you're, but then it also says something about you that your partner thinks you're so emotional you couldn't save it for later. But, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's also why I think there's like gradients to this.
Yeah.
And it's like the idea of like, okay, sure, like the laid off thing, like, I would say like, for example, something small, like I don't know, like maybe it's like me and another coworker like trips. I don't know. It's just funny. It's just funny. It's this guy trips, right? He like trips. Just whoa, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know that I need to hold that in for my partner. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to my coworker next to me. I'm gonna be like, see that guy trip? What a fucking loser. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but like, you know what I mean? And then I might fire off a text. But it's like the idea of like, that's why I think there's gradients to it. And that's why I think it's important to know from a boundary perspective with your partner. It's communication, obviously.
Yeah.
Is like, well, and I would also believe if my partner thought that me sharing something funny with a coworker before her was like a red flag to her, I'd be like, that's a red flag for me. Like, I couldn't tell my fucking coworker that like this guy tripped.
Isn't that what happened with like Jim and Pam? Like, the girl Pam was always talking to Jim about like, or telling what's his name? What was it? Roy, yeah. She was like telling Roy about how funny like Jim is and like the stuff that would happen at work. Like you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like in that case, that's a red flag, or that's something to watch out for. If like their go-to joke person.
But you know, no. You can't call that. No, you can't call that out because Jim and Pam were both actively making moves on it.
Yeah.
This is my example was like just straight up. Whoever's next to me by proximity.
That's what I said. It's kind of like. It's kind of like. No, but okay, yes, fine, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Pam.
No, I get you. I see what you're saying.
No, but diving just very quickly, briefly into that situation. Yeah. Yes, they're both making moves. Yeah. But the point is, she played on the part of Pam to Roy. She was playing it off as if it was harmless. Like, oh, this is just my coworker. He's just funny. Like the whole situation of like, oh, that's just my good friend. But like, I do think in situations like that, if your partner is constantly going to somebody else, you know, like and having these shared moments over and over, you know, with a potential partner who could be a partner, then I think that is a red flag.
Okay. So here's the difference, though. I think the difference is like you can have. I don't think you can ever stop like a funny coworker from existing.
Yeah.
Right, a funny coworker that is just funny. Like and like, let's just say there's a funny girl coworker.
Yeah.
And she's always cracking jokes at me. I'm not gonna be like fuck off. Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I'm gonna have those. They're gonna be funny moments.
Yeah.
And they're gonna happen over and over. Yeah. But isn't that also the point of like almost in a way like vetting your partner is like if all it takes is a funny guy or funny girl at work for them to be pulled away, that's not a great part. You know what I mean? Like if all it takes is just the funny guy at work.
Yeah.
No.
No, I know what you're saying. I completely agree. No, I agree. That's why I already started like changing my wording to, you know, sharing memories with someone.
Yeah.
But even that's probably not the best way to make the distinction because like
intimate moments.
Because like clearly
things that only you and the other person like cherish deep.
Like if they're a funny person at work, sure, and then, like you guys can laugh at it. Like you and your partner can laugh about. You know, you share that with your partner. It's funny as well. Yeah. But like if that person keeps coming, I'm trying to pinpoint it. But yeah, if that person keeps coming up. And you could see that your partner is almost enamored.
Well, I think it's your partner's job to recognize what's going on, right? So like if this person's funny, they're cracking jokes, and like maybe what do you call it? Like I think there's either two things. Number two is the horrible one. The first one is like you recognize that this person. Oh, actually, there's three. One is that this person is just funny, cracking jokes. It's just platonic. Great.
Like class
it's just
clown.
Like, it's just funny.
This is a funny person that happens.
Funny work friend, whatever. Great.
Yeah, neutral, yeah.
You don't even have to worry about it.
Neutral funny.
Right. And they're funny with everybody, whatever.
Yeah.
Second scenario is you notice that they are being funny on purpose to like try and get your attention. Now it's in the ball's in your court of like the ball's in your court of like, okay, well, you know this person's actively kind of pursuing you through this, you know, kind of front of like being funny. Now it's like, well, what do you do in that situation? Like, do you do you continue to allow it? And maybe you would never ever cheat and you don't even have eyes for this person, but it's the whole idea of like someone's coming on to you for the sake of respect for your partner. Like, at least for me, for the sake of my partner, I would limit my interactions, even though I have no eyes for this person, just by nature of knowing that they're coming on to me. Out of respect for my partner, I would probably, try and limit my interactions, step away. Obviously, if it's work, we have to work together, but I'll limit it. I'm going to keep a barrier.
Yeah, and it's just
and
like
the third is the worst.
If somebody is coming on to you, what are you doing to, like, stop it?
Yeah, and the third is the worst scenario is maybe they're just a platonic funny guy, and your partner's finding themselves enamored. That's still also kind of a character moment of like if they realize they're getting enamored just by jokes. Which I think would be crazy, but like
then you need to find a new partner.
Then it's like, well, I think they could still. I would say it's very hard. Might as well be impossible. But like, they have a choice to say like, I find myself getting enamored. Why is it? Maybe I'm missing something from my partner. Maybe it's that I feel like I think this would be the only appropriate response. Is like you recognize like, well, why am I so enamored? Is it because like I don't feel like my partner's giving me these like little moments? And if you communicate that to your partner and like, something changes in the sense of like maybe your partner once was goofy and you're like missing that. Maybe you're not so enamored with the person. You're enamored with like what they're giving you. Yeah. And I think if you communicate that to your partner and say like, I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to say to your partner, like, like this guy at work is like super funny. Like I just, I don't know. Maybe it's just like it made me realize like I missed having those moments with you. I think that's fair game, but I think that's rare. I don't think might as well be impossible.
Kill
like,
ever said anything like that to me.
Well, no. Okay, but like, here's the thing. It would have to be that they're not enamored, but what it really is like it made me realize I'm missing this.
No, yeah, I just hate. I think the whole wording doesn't save it at all.
Oh, really?
Like when people are like, I mean, here's the extreme. I cheated, but I realized I didn't feel anything, but it made me realize I loved you again.
Well, no, that's not the same.
No, it's not.
That's not the same.
But okay, but obviously that's an extreme. But that like. I was like enamored with this person because they were so funny, like, and I started like feeling like, and obviously if you're enamored, you're feeling some sort of sense of attraction. Wait.
Okay.
Some sort of sense of attraction, and then you're like, it's because I realized I was missing that with you.
Well, okay, no, let me clarify.
You see how stupid that is?
I tried to save myself. And what I meant was this: they come to they. I had to backtrack and say they're not enamored with the person. They're enamored with the jokes. I don't know if that saves it, but they're enamored with the jokes.
No, I get it. They're enamored with the jokes. Sure.
Not the person.
Which I'd say is typically
hard to separate.
Hard to separate because it's typically one and the same.
Okay.
But also, I would say if my partner got swept away by just jokes. One that could say that, I mean, it goes both ways. It could say something about me that they don't think that much about me, or they're not
okay.
Their desire or attraction to me is fragile. That somebody cracking jokes is enough.
Concede. Yeah.
But
you're right. Yeah.
But again, to the partner, if it's all it takes,
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. No, I agree with that. I guess it would just really come down to option 1 and 2. Yeah. I think is the most realistic scenario. Option 3 is like you should leave your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I forgot what I was gonna say earlier. I wanted to close off that at least that thing.
Well, we can also close off.
Yeah, we could also close off. Yeah, but I was gonna say, yes, you can have friends of the opposite sex, but I think anyone. Well, let me say this: anyone who's on the friend side of things, and your friend gets into a new relationship or is entering into a new relationship.
So you're saying you're speaking to the friends?
Yeah, to the friends. I'm speaking to the friends who may feel hurt that their friend is changing. I think
get a grip.
Yeah. Yeah, you tell them.
Get a grip.
Get the grip.
Or get a life, really. Like
get a life. Seriously.
Get a life.
Like it's so hypocritical because you would want that same thing for you. Yeah. Is if you're now in a new relationship and you're falling in love, you'd be thinking to yourself the same thing: is why do they care? Like they should just be happy for me.
Yeah.
You know.
And would you not want to allocate more of your time to your partner or
Yeah.
the potential mother or father of your child? Like,
Yeah.
I would say, like, there should be a natural shifting of time allocation
Yeah.
from your friends
Yeah.
to your partner.
Yeah.
And so for you to look at your friend who's now in a relationship and get mad at them for shifting their time away from you to their partner,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
And clingy.
Yeah, a little concerning. So,
Yeah, and you want to ask yourself,
Yeah.
what's the
yeah.
true nature of this
Yeah.
relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're friends in a new relationship, there has to be a new dynamic, new boundaries, and things like that, and that's just a part of life. And I'd say it's a sign of maturity if you find yourself being like hurt, like they like took him away.
Yeah.
Like I don't hear that from high schoolers, and like if I still hear that with like college people, then like you must not have a lot of things going on, or you're obsessed.
Yeah.
It's a couple of those things.
Also think about family too. Like I can only imagine that if you're this way when they have a girlfriend or boyfriend, what happens when they get married and have kids, right? And like they're spending time with their kids. You know, you're gonna like kick little Timmy. I mean, it's like maybe. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sprinkle something in his water.
Yeah, screwed little Timmy.
yeah. Timmy turned up dead.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And I was gonna say for
Thought I felt a spider.
yeah, with those new boundaries, for example, a good friend would understand like Kayla says this all the time, like because girls I think are good on that for their guy, but like in creating those boundaries and understanding the dynamics when it's like the girlfriend to the guy. But I don't think it's as well received when it's the boyfriend to the girlfriend. And maybe that opens up. What I mean by that is, like, for example, like, girls will get away with saying, like, Kayla will show me TikToks, and she's even said this to me as well, is, like, she'll show me TikToks of, like a girl starts trying to talk to you, and then they just, like immediately push them off and, like, blow them off. Yeah. Even if it's not even, like, directly romantic or coming on to you. It's just like they like cheer for that like, oh, like my boyfriend doesn't talk to any woman or anything like that. But if a guy, calls out like a girl for having a guy friend or guy coworker that they're talking to regularly, then it's like that's when you hear the excuses of like, oh, I just see them as a brother, I just see them as this, or like I just trust me and things like that. But like you know what I'm saying? Like it's usually like the girl to the guy. But I think it says something, and I think that's going to open up a whole nother thing, so maybe we continue that later. But I think for the partner, if your friend is not willing to respect, like, for example, that friend that comes at night, like there's no need for them to come like in the middle of the night, smoke pot or whatever, do all those things at that time of the night. There's like absolutely no reason that you guys couldn't meet in like a neutral area. It's kind of like in those movies with like a sniper, is like you want to be in those public spaces, like you don't, or maybe a sniper is not a good thing, but like, if somebody's out to kill you, you want to be around a bunch of people, you know, like, cause nothing is going to happen, or you're less likely to do something when there's so many people watching. But if like somebody is constantly coming to you to like confide and like put their problems onto you and they need you, often I think the natural thing is like that you'll tell to your partner is, oh, they need me, and they're going through a hard time right now, but they need me. I think that goes to show like where your priorities lie, because like you're needed at home, you're needed with your partner, even if it's not like life or death or like something as serious as what the friend's going on. But I do think even then your partner still takes precedence. And regardless of what's going on in your friend's life, like they should still respect the boundaries. Like, sure, you're going through a crisis, but you need to save it till like we can talk in a more open space and not at like 1 a.m. at night. I kind of lost my train of thought, but did that make sense?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Like,
I started talking about a couple of things.
yeah, no, I'm trying to like think like
Because I started talking about something and I knew you would like react to it, so but we're trying to close, so I started trying to talk about something else.
I'll say this. I'll say I think there's a couple things that a couple things that should be fleshed out. Like for example, a friend in crisis. If I'm new to a relationship, like we started dating like 15 days ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the friend takes precedence. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's also a matter of like I think there's a you and your partner will know when there's a shift in hierarchy. When you first start dating, I think friends naturally take hierarchy for that time being. Once it becomes serious, yeah, of course, your partner takes priority. And I would also say this, like the whole 1 a.m. thing, like for example, I don't know if I'm the best example because I'm technically family. So like if I texted you crisis middle of the night, right? Like I need you, brother. You know, I need your help.
We're also not gay, so it's fine.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
So
It's true. Fine. What if I was Matilda, right?
you were what?
What if I was Matilda? Okay. What if I was Matilda, right? Because we're technically family.
Who's Matilda?
That's if in another universe if I was a woman, right? I'm just saying if I was
So
in
you're not mad.
no.
Anymore.
If I in the
But you're
alternate universe, I was
Matilda.
Matilda, right?
Okay.
I'm your wife's sister. Well, also, why would I be calling my sister's husband? Never mind. That's dumb.
Yeah,
I had to take that back.
Yeah.
That's not a great example.
Yeah.
Okay, question. If your whole thing was if it's not life or death, right? If
If it's not like super important.
yeah. Well, I think, but obviously, if it was life or death, like let's say it's like you're like a true friend, true friend.
True friend. Yeah.
Life or death. I
Yeah.
think your partner would be understanding. And
Yeah,
be like,
exactly.
Well, they would probably come with you.
Yeah, but
Oh,
like
man.
to talk about like all your problems and stuff like that. That's very different.
Okay, but
That's very different.
yeah. But okay, then that's also where I would say like that's not a true friend. You know, like I would say like you know what I mean? Like I think they, for one, like to call you out at midnight. I don't know. I think I agree. Yeah, no. There's nothing I really have to say about that. I think like for one, because the hierarchy shifts, I think friends would also recognize that you no longer become the number one person to go to in those times.
Yeah.
So for example, like for my friend, like I have a really good friend. She lives up in Santa Cruz. That I regularly called for stuff. I know now, like I know she's in a loving like relationship now, and so I would never like hit her up at like midnight, being like let me like tell you about all these crazy. I'll tell it to her the next time we catch up. Because I want to be mindful of like those things, right? And I'm sure like if I was in the boyfriend's position, like some random guy calling a girl up at like midnight to like discuss like their feelings and whatnot, midnight, a little bit of like I don't know. So the whole point is like I know now like she can't be that person like number one anymore because she has priority and she has hierarchy, and that's okay, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. It just means that like now the next time I see her, I'll tell her about it. Like that's fine, and her boyfriend can hear all about it too.
Yeah.
I'm still excited to meet you, by the way. I'm excited because I think she found she found a good guy, so I'm excited for her. But like I think that's the idea is like as a true friend would recognize that you're no longer that person they call at midnight.
Yeah.
Obviously they could if the emergency merited it.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're like you being stressed about like work is an emergency. I think the gravity of things shift, and it's up to you now to find the right people to like rely on.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to figure out the wording. I think it's like, I mean, well, obviously you're a good friend because you don't clearly like care that like she's like you guys aren't talking anymore. Like
oh yeah, no, I don't like.
No, I know. But I'm saying like, I think if you're a good friend, you should, as you are, you should see that as my friend is moving on with their life, is continuing their life,
Yep.
versus like paying attention to the changes in like your relationship. Does that make sense? Like, if you're focusing on just the change that's happening between you two, then that means like, I don't know, like you're either overstepping the boundary or like you're not understanding what friendship is or should be. I don't know. I'm losing track of thought.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're calling that out from like my perspective. Or
No, I was saying you're the good friend because when you see that, you just see it as your friend is moving on.
Oh yeah, like I don't see it as like like I need to step
what you're
back.
focusing on.
Yeah.
If you're focusing, if
I brought that up because it's by nature of the conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas if I wasn't and I was like, oh fuck, if I was like, oh, you know, so and so has a boyfriend.
Yeah.
I now like, no, it's more of just like I didn't even think about that. It's just like, obviously now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking about it. Fuck.
Yeah, let's just finish it off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is what you focus on should be like, or what your mind immediately goes to is if you see your friend and they're no longer hanging out, but they're in a new relationship, the first thing like that should be in your mind is you're happy. Yeah. Is that, oh, my friend's moving on. I need to move on too. I need to get on with my life. Right. That's why like all my buds, when they were seeing like me get married, they're like, I need to find me a wife.
I said that.
You said that as well. Yeah, but you as well. But you see your friends moving on. They're doing new things, and you don't like get upset at them for doing those new things or having those new life. You just go, you know, you either think, you know, I need to move on as well. Yeah. You know, like I still love them. Like they're no longer with me, but I'm happy for them. Yeah. But if you're thinking of like about, I mean, it is just selfish. If you're thinking about like if your focus isn't that, but instead
how you preserve
it, or like the changes, and you're like calling up your friend and be like I haven't seen you in a while, like do they not like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, I think you can definitely call them up and be like, I haven't seen you in a while, let's hang out.
Yeah, that's different than like I haven't seen you in a while, like we got to change that.
Or like something's wrong.
Or like it's been a while. Like I don't know. Yeah, like that you like I'm sure anyone has a friend that talks that way. Right. And it's weird because I'll see people like justify that and be like, well, yeah, like the you shouldn't get in a relationship and just leave your friends. They were there longer. I'm like, I don't.
Well, you're not leaving your friends.
You're not leaving your friends. That's, yeah, exactly.
Because I think
that's the misunderstanding. Is I think that's why I meant by like misunderstanding what friendship should be. Yeah. Is if you think the friendship means you are entitled to this certain amount of time, this certain amount of access. Yeah. And you're not a friend. You're in like a full-blown like relationship. Yeah. You know, that's only what like your girl or your boyfriend, whatever, like should have that same level of like access and time. Yeah. And all those sort of things. Yeah, access and time. So like if they get in a relationship and you immediately think like, oh, they're taking them away from me, or like like all that kind of stuff. Like, one, you're insecure. Yeah. And two, like I don't think you realize you're in an actual relationship right now. Mm-hmm. Like a real friend is like, oh no, yeah, like you're moving on with your life. Yeah, good for you. I need to get my stuff together too. Yeah. Anyways, we're already off camera, so anyways, thanks for watching.
Yep. Later.
Clap.